start talking about site logs. So that is the topic for today's discussion. We're going to be talking about all the different places where there are some additional logs that you may not be aware of because they're really actually they're core to Moodle, so they're kind of not as used and not as talked about, but they can be handy. They can be helpful from time to time. So we're going to just kind of explore those and talk about those a little bit today. A little bit about myself. My name is Taylor Craig, and I am a platforms consultant here at Kineo. So my job entails getting the opportunity to work with you guys. I get to train you, I get to travel on site and be a part of your office for a day or two a lot of times. So lots of cool things that I do. I get to work with our solution architects really closely, make sure you guys are trained up on any kind of solution that we line out for you. And just recently we've kind of started doing some smaller implementations that I'm getting the opportunity to work really closely on those as well. All right, guys, a little bit about office hours. So what we talk about in office hours typically is about a 15-minute feature presentation. We generally do post that up to YouTube so that you have access to it and so that anybody who's using Totara has access to that. However, then we have about a 45 minutes afterwards where you can ask any question that your little heart desires. So if I know the answer, I will answer it on the spot. If I don't know the answer, I will get back to you, hopefully quicker than I unfortunately got back to a few folks the other day. Typically it's a pretty quick turnaround, but if I get sucked into something, it sometimes is a little bit longer, but I try to get them back to you as quick as I can. But that's client only time. We only allow you guys to participate in that, and we don't post that to YouTube. So if you happen to ask a question and you get the answer that you were looking for or need to pass that along to anybody else, feel free to ask me. I'm more than happy to provide you with the full recording so that you can pass that along to your coworkers. Okay? Typically, we don't post that anywhere unless it's asked for. So what exactly are site logs? So site logs are going to be click-by-click records of happenings throughout your site. That could be a learner clicking to view something. That could be an instructor grading something. That could be an administrator making a site configuration change. So there's lots of different site logs. There's several different reports that we'll take a look at. You can do this from the system administrative area, and then you can also do it down inside of a course. So quite a few things that you can do. They're just basically, like I said earlier, they're core reports that you might find helpful. So let's go ahead and take a look. I'm using this it's a different site that I normally use. I normally use a 2.7 site, but it's also a 2.7 demo site that we have it set to not capture logs. So it's not grabbing nearly as much information as I wanted to show you. So today what we're looking at, this is actually a 2.9 site, and it captures all data. So let's take a look at the different site logs that we're talking about. So the first place where you're going to locate this and where you're going to see it, it's going to be underneath Site Administration, Reports. And instead of doing that normal report builder like we always do when we talk about reports, we're actually wanting to look down here at these. So we're going to take a look at our live logs. So your live logs is everything happening on the site within the hour. This is something that is constantly updating, constantly changing. You'll see that Tammy apparently forgot her password because we see that login failed for Tammy. Okay, so we're seeing those changes. It's letting us know if people have a login failure or anything like that. So that's giving us our up-to-date immediate logs that are happening on the site. You'll notice here it's also giving us an IP address as well. Okay. We can also take a look at just the logs. So this again, this is going to be a click-by-click action that's happening on the site. So up here you can narrow down by course if you want to. You can do the entire site. You can choose a particular person that you want to see here. You can choose a particular day or all days. Keep in mind, guys, if you have this turned on, and I'm going to show you where you can adjust the settings for this as well. If it's capturing all of that information and you've got a pretty active site that's been going for quite a while, when you pull that all days, all participants, the entire site, it can take a minute to pull that information back because, again, it's recording every single click that everybody's making on your site. In this case, from this particular area, since it is site level, it's just going to pull back all activities or site errors. We will look at the same report inside of a course, and you'll see that we can actually pull based on particular activities as well. You can choose create actions, view actions, update actions, or delete actions. And then also we have some new stuff. This apparently came about in 2.7 from what I was able to determine. And you have the ability to determine based on what they're calling education level, right? So what that means is when you're doing something based on teaching, that is a person that is perhaps grading an assignment, right? And so it's going to narrow everything down to just those particular grades. Or they're rating a forum posting. Or they're doing something along those lines. So something that's going to impact learners on the site. If you do participating, that's going to be somebody who's actively engaging in a course. So they're posting to a forum. Or they're submitting an assignment. Or they're signing up for a face-to-face. They're doing those types of things, okay? And then other, that's going to pull back any other things that aren't necessarily classified in those areas. And there's actually a really cool list that determines which is what, and I'll show you that here in a second. So let's go ahead and get these logs. So we're going to go ahead and pull this. So what this is doing is this is showing me everything that is happening on a per person basis. So we have our admin user, which is what we log into this site with. And you'll see here that at the system context, we were playing around with Totara audiences. We apparently deleted a rule set. It's going to tell me which one it was deleted from. Cohort 12. So cohort 12 means audience 12. So you'll be able to kind of get back in there and find what it is that was done and kind of who did it. If we go in, just kind of cruising through here, admin user as admin user, logged in as Taylor Learner. So I apparently on August 3rd, so yesterday, logged in and then logged in as myself, right? And then logged in as another user. It shows me kind of what I did and the IP address that it was done from. So again, it's kind of a click-by-click accounting of what has taken place and what is happening on your site. Okay. And if we take a look, I mentioned earlier there was a list of what all these education levels were. If you look underneath reports event list, this actually will show you what those events are, like what qualifies as a teaching event or a participating event. So here we've got a badge awarded, that's a teaching event. A blog association created, that's a participating. Comment created, that's participating. So another event would be a calendar event was created. So it's going to kind of give you a good idea of what is what in that case. Okay. Let's see here. There's another one I like to show, especially when you have multiple administrators. So in older versions, you might have 2 or 3 administrators, and an administrator might make a change, and then you don't know exactly who made that change or why they made that change, and then people won't fess up to having made the change that maybe caused a big issue, right? So this will show who did it if you have multiple administrative accounts. If you're sharing the same administrative account like we are in this case, it's just showing admin user did a whole bunch of stuff. But that was probably 4 or 5 people here at Kineo because we all log in as that same person. But if you each have your own individual administrative account, you'll be able to see what that person did. So here we see admin user changed the no reply address to no reply at demo.kineo.com. We changed the support email address. Susan came in and she made some changes. So she's got a different account that's an administrative account, right? So basically just showing everything that has been done on the site and who has done it. So this is only looking at administrative configurations. It's just kind of handy to have so that you can make for sure, and then you can go to that person and say, hey, why did you make this change? Okay, cool. We can either agree or we need to change it back, right? So it gives you some things to work with there. Now, down inside of the course level, so if we go into a course, and I'm just going to go into one of these. These are all just test courses, so there's not a whole lot in them. But you can still at least see the different reports. So underneath course administration reports, you do get some additional reports here. So I want to show you the difference between a couple of reports that look very, very similar. I'm going to start at the bottom. We have an activity completion report, and this is going to show me the learner, and it's going to show me the activity. So in my case, it's just a label called complete. There's not a whole lot going on in this course. But I see the one learner and if they've done that or not. The one that looks very similar to this is the course completion report. Okay, so I see here it's giving me this, but then this is also giving me a completion for the entire course as well as an additional checkbox. The reason I have an additional checkbox on this particular screen is because I have record of prior learning turned on this site, meaning that I can come in as an administrator and I can mark this person as complete even when they really haven't done anything. So I can come in, say, hey, this person did it. They really are complete. Ta-da, we refresh the screen and we get completion. So basically we're just kind of forcing completions for people at this point. Okay, so that's going to be your major difference between these two reports. But if I go back to this activity completion report, I now see that that is triggered as complete, right? Okay. All of these, you'll notice you can download and export these in a lot of places. So just something to point out and keep an eye on. You do have also a course participation report. This is pretty cool in that it will allow you to pull back if people are participating in the course. I'm going to show you this in a different site. I just got a question, is that feature only in 2.9? I don't believe so. Let me actually pull up this 2.7 site. This is a 2.7 site that we're looking at here, and I'm going to look at a different course because it's got a few more things going on in it. So underneath course administration reports, I am seeing activity completion and course completion. And if you're talking about RPL, Rachel, RPL is definitely available. Record of prior learning, that's definitely available in versions before 2.9. Okay, so I want to take a look at this course participation report. What this is going to allow me to do is it's going to allow me on a per assignment basis. So I can come through and I can say, okay, I want to see this one, and I can choose to look back a certain number of days. My system only, in this particular site, it only maintains 2 days worth of records. Yours probably is either set to not delete ever, or it's set to delete maybe after every 30 days or something like that. And again, I will show you where you do that administratively. So I'm going to go back a day and don't really care who it pulls. We're just going to pull back all actions for all users. So here, what this is doing is it's letting me see who's doing what, and I see the actions that that person has performed for that particular thing. So I'm going to pull back, let's do learners, because that might give me more people. Yeah, it gives me everybody. Okay, so I see that for this particular assignment, in the last day, nobody's done anything. Now, this can be really handy if you have it set to pull back records from 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, stuff like that. It can be a little more helpful for you because you're going to get something a little more accurate. But again, since this is a demo site, we have mine kicked down really low so that it will perform as fast as possible. But basically what I have the ability to do is I can come in here and I can select people individually, or I can choose to, let's see, I thought there was a select all with a no. I think if I show all of them, maybe. There it is right there. Oh, right in front of me. Blind. Select all with a no. And then I can choose to send a message to those people. So if this was a real world situation and I had people in here participating, and it would probably not be all 53 that hadn't done anything, right? It would probably be maybe a lower number. But basically it allows you to contact those individuals and kind of keep them moving through the course. So it's not necessarily an automatic trigger, but it is giving you the ability to kind of manually maintain and keep an eye on your courses. So that's going to be one option that you have there. So that's your course participation. And then we also have an activity report. So this particular activity report, what this is doing is this is showing me completed logs since Tuesday the 2nd. So I'm able to see how many people have just kind of been peeking into my course and if they've been doing anything. So I'm just able to see, okay, people have been viewing stuff in the last couple of days, and this is the last time they did it. Okay, so that's what's giving me there. You can run live logs on the site as well from the course. And then here's the other logs. So this is the same thing. Now I'm in as an administrator, so I'm able to kind of make selections. Now if I was in as maybe an instructor in this course or a trainer in this course, or maybe I had a lower level, maybe a category level system role type of assignment, I would only see the courses that would typically apply to me at that point. But as an admin, I can come in here and I can see things. So I can say all days, all activities, all actions, and I can get these logs. And this is going to show me just kind of everything that's been happening in the last 2 days, again, because my site's only keeping those records. So it's not giving me a whole lot of data, but it's giving me some. And I'm able to see that the other day I logged in as Sunny, and I was able to do a couple of things as that particular user. So I was using this site for who knows what reason, but going through and kind of looking at different stuff there. And those are your main logs that you have that are just kind of core reports that you can pull inside of your courses. Now let's take a look at the system level where you would alter that. So I've been talking about how mine's set to only keep 2 days worth of records. You might want to check what yours is doing. Where that's going to be located, that's going to be underneath Site Administration, and it's going to be located underneath Plugins, and it is going to be, trying to remember which one it was, Logging. Logging, Manage Log Stores. And it's mainly just going to be the standard log that it's pulling. So logs, live logs, activity report, course participation, and statistics, if you have statistics turned on. There is some minor statistical analysis that the system can pull out. Just keep in mind that if you turn on statistics, it can impact the performance of your site. So if you have a site that's really active and you've got a lot going on in there, you probably need to contact support before you turn on statistics, just mainly so that they can be aware and kind of know what's going on in there. So I'm going to click on Settings here. And this is where you're going to be able to see where all of these logs are coming from. So if you want to log guest access so that you can see if a guest has hit the site at some point, you can leave that. That's going to be helpful if you have guest access turned on. If you don't have guest access turned on, then why monitor that? And then you can choose how long to keep the logs for. So my other site, the site with the black theme and the green, that particular one, it's kicked down to just 2 days. This particular one is set to never delete logs, so that's why I was seeing a whole lot more information. Another thing, guys, you want to pay attention to here, just as far as how these logs are concerned and how they function. If you're going to have statistics turned on, a lower number is going to kind of throw your stats off. So you want that higher number in there. However, again, if it's keeping all of this information and caching all of this information, it could potentially impact your performance. So just want to kind of give that as a disclaimer, but something to be aware of. So that is the additional logs that you have access to within your site in a nutshell, and I am going to turn it back over to you guys for questions. We do have quite a few people with us today, so I'll give you a mic as needed, or you can type into the questions box.